everyone. Today we're going to take a look at a Bernie Rico Hesperian 727. So first of all, I need to give a major disclaimer about this review. You see how it says in the title down here that this is an unbiased gear review? That's what you're going to get here. I am not going to wax eloquent about the many reasons why you absolutely should not give Bernie Rico any of your hard-earned money. Instead, I'm just going to direct you to go to the online forums. Check out 7string.org. Check out the music discussion page by Wired Guitarist that's on Facebook. Check out virtually any resource online that mostly deals with a lot of high-end boutique guitars, and they're going to wax eloquent for you about the horror story that is Rico guitars. So I am going to focus this review on this instrument right here. So first, let's go over the specifics about this instrument. What we have here is a BRJ, or Bernie Rico Jr. Hesperian 727 model. 7 being that it's a 7-string model, and then the 27 meaning it's got 27 stainless steel frets. This particular model is from the notorious Black Friday run. It is an all-maple neck-thru body construction with mahogany body wings. The fretboard is Ebony. The hardware is all Hipshot. We've got an awesome Hipshot Bridge right here and Hipshot locking tuners on the headstock there. The pickups were swapped out a while ago. This guitar has been modded. The DiMarzio Crunch Lab and Liquefier that were in there have been swapped out, and now this guitar has Seymour Duncan Blackouts. In addition to that, this is what they call a drop top model, meaning that it kind of thins out a little bit towards the sides, but this one in particular thins out a little bit more on the bass side. So right here, it's a little bit thinner of a guitar. So now, with all that's been said about the company, bearing in mind this is an unbiased gear review, I am reviewing this particular instrument. I gotta be honest with you, this is an awesome playing guitar. Everything about this thing, well, I shouldn't say everything. This thing does have some flaws on it, which I'll go over in a second. But when you're actually sitting here holding the thing or got it strapped on and you're playing it, it's a wonderful, wonderful guitar. It plays fantastic. Now, there's one of the issues that comes up is that the back of the neck, you can definitely tell the tongue oil was a little bit uneven when it was applied. Does it really affect the playability so much? No, but if you're inspecting the instrument going over it, it is definitely something you notice. But when you're actually sitting here jamming on it, doesn't really factor in too much. The profile of the neck itself is a really nice thin C shape, so which is very, very cool, lends itself to some really nice notey shredding runs, which I love. The drop top design I think is pretty cool because it just tends to make it a little bit more comfy than like you would see from either a flat topped guitar or from even a carved top design. Um, I think that it tends to sit a little bit better up against the player, which is nice. It's a comfortable guitar. The only real playability issue I found, and bumping up the string gauges and tweaking the bridge helped a little bit, but there are some spots up around the higher frets and the higher strings where it tends to fret out a bit. You'll hit a bend and it just kind of dies a little. You know, some guys might not necessarily see that as too much of an issue, especially if you're a straight up rhythm player. For a guy like myself, you know, I like being able to jam on this thing and solo as I need to, and I've got the bridge pretty maxed out as far as the string height goes, so I don't really want to raise it up too much higher than that, or you might start to get the string itself too high to actually comfortably play. Now, as far as some other issues with regards to the construction of this instrument, um, I want to point out a few things. First of all, you know, the tuning machines on this thing, they're not really aligned so well. I mean, like, right off the bat, I can see this tuner is just a little bit off, you know, and it's something that's a little bit uncomfortable when you're tuning it. Is it really that important? That's up to the individual player. Myself, I think it's uncomfortable to look at, but as long as I can turn the tuning machine and get this sucker in tune, I'm oddly okay with it. Something that I think is a little bit strange is that if I don't even know if the camera can see it, but right underneath the fretboard, between the neck and the fretboard, there's a shim in there, which you typically don't see on a high end custom guitar like this. Now, granted, I understand this was part of a run that was put out rather quickly just to kind of drum up some business and drum up some interest, but something like that, the occasional keen-eyed guitar player will notice that and would call that out. One other thing about this instrument that's there again, it's just unsightly. It doesn't really factor in too much as far as playability or tone or anything, but every so often when you're inspecting this, you'll just find these kind of random tool marks all over the place, whether it be along the neck joint, along the headstock, or probably the most obvious one, a little section right here where it looks like maybe a clamp or something hit the guitar and was just kind of finished over. There again, is it something that affects how the instrument plays? No, but is it something that a high-end guitar builder should let slide? Absolutely not. You know, do something to fix that before you actually send this out to your buyer. So now, as far as how this thing sounds, I think this thing sounds pretty awesome. Like I mentioned before, the stock pickups were DiMarzio Crunch Lab and Liquifier, which I know a lot of guys like, and I've played some guitars that have had them, and I think they sound good. But I do think that in this particular case, the Seymour Duncan Blackouts are a little bit of an improvement. I've got Blackouts in a few of my instruments. I've always liked how they sounded a little bit better than EMGs do because they tend to sound a little bit darker and meatier to me. And I think that really, they really excel in an instrument like this where it's got some mahogany in it. Just gives it a super nice chunk whenever you're playing. The only thing I don't like is that being that this is an instrument that has 27 frets, the neck pickup is almost not even worth having in there because you don't get that nice harmonically rich and vintage sounding neck pickup. Instead, what you've got here is essentially a sound that's a little bit bright coming from a neck pickup. You know, definitely doesn't have that kind of modern vintagey vibe that a lot of guys, including myself, tend to dig from the neck pickup. So, I mean, you know, is this a perfect instrument? Not by any stretch. But is it something that plays really, really well and would be worth the money if you could find a used one that was in good shape? I would say yes. There again, would I necessarily say, oh, you should buy a brand new Rico? No, and I'm not going to go into the specifics. Just go onto the forums and find out for yourselves. But I don't know. All in all, I think this instrument is actually, it's a keeper, but it needs work. So thank you guys so much for checking out this video review. If you like what you saw, go ahead and like the video, comment below if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or even suggestions. I'm always looking for suggestions of what to do for my next videos. Please subscribe to the channel. There's lots more stuff on the way. And yeah, hope to see you again real soon. Thank you.